Hello and welcome. It is Monday, February 3rd, which means it is a new week here in the vlog world of this new eBay store that really isn't so new anymore. I started it on June 15th, 2024, and I want to get it up to a six-figure income. My goal is to have that as January of 2027. We have six-figure income coming in on a consistent basis. This vlog is documenting all the steps I'm taking along the way, and for this particular week, I'm going to tell you we're still in cleanup mode. As I mentioned in many of the other videos, I have a wholesale business model that is an e-commerce store, and that is the big priority in my life. That's what pays all the bills. So obviously it's kind of like my full-time job for many people, and a lot of what I'm doing over there does seem to come into or become relevant for things going on in this new eBay endeavor. One of the things I can tell you, I have a few things that I just need to get out of the way and cleaned up. One is we're just coming to the end of Returnuary, which is when everybody's returning all their stuff on Amazon. That is not something so relevant to eBay, but it is just one of the mental things that is like, oh God, another chore, another dreading. But we do have one pretty good sized pile there that came in over the weekend of returns that has to be gone through. We'll have a few more that are lagging behind, but that has now kind of gone back to reset now on that platform, and they're just having the 30 days to return an item. No longer this, you bought it at the end of October and can return it in the end of January. We did file about 15 to 20 cases last week, which I indicated before was only about a third of what is there for case filing. I would guess about another 40 cases at a minimum to file, not saying what I'm going to find when we check in that pile that came in over the weekend. Once I can get that behind us, that is something that will just be maintained on a much smaller level, and they'll be dealt with as they come through. That will be a big hurdle to get through. Another hurdle I'm really close to dealing with is the old SKUs of product that I've had here in the past. Whether I've decided we're not carrying them anymore, the manufacturers discontinued it, they are not coming into our life anymore in this business. We won't be selling them. And I want to get the sales platforms and our inventory system and all that cleaned up for many, many reasons. I've been working on this for years. The reason being that I had very rapid growth. I've said this in the past in other videos. In that eBay business, we were in the right place at the right time. I get that. But we never made it a priority, and there was never any reason to do any of this in the past. But now I'm learning some different things. I'm having to pay for certain services based on the amount of SKUs that we have, and it just really behooves us to get that done. I have my largest brand to go in and clean up for this past year, and one or two brands that I've never touched before that are on the smaller side. So I am that close. Again, when I can get through that, that is off the plate. It will be maintaining, and it really will not be the big chore, and I can just have my mental energy back to focus on something else. Another reason I'm kind of really not doing a whole lot, I don't feel right now, is that vacation for myself is coming up in 2 weeks. This is when I will go away on my own for about 10 to 12 days. I haven't really decided yet. And just go do my car making, do my hobby. And I like to do a lot of preparation, so I'm not taking the whole, lugging all this stuff on my back into these places to do stuff. I like to just prep as much as I can and take as little of the big tools and stuff like that with me. And that requires a lot of prep work, and I've been focusing on that because who doesn't want to get ready for their vacation, right? So that leads to where I am with this business for this coming week. Well, I did the Whatnot show last week. I want to do another one this week. I am not giving up on the platform. It just was a little bit of a kick in the teeth, truthfully, to be on there and not have any engagement and not have one sale. Okay, I had my pity party. I'm ready to move on. One of the things that's been going on behind the scenes is my son has been working on condensing things in our warehouse, doing a physical inventory. Our warehouse is pretty much what we like to keep everything in that wholesale business for, but then we do have 2 storage containers that get rented. The one just never seems to be able to have those products cleaned out so we can send it back. There hasn't been that much space in the warehouse cleaned up. He has finally gotten through getting all the goods out of the secondary one and typically we would send it back. I figured we would keep it this year and use it for this new eBay store. I had multiple different reasons, one of which was that I want the goods out there close to the rest of the other goods so that during the holiday season in 25, it's accessible and we can not have to put the store on vacation or close it. I thought we kind of had it worked out, but now my husband has convinced us to go back to plan A, which was we're sending it back, saving the money out of the rent fees for that. We have the electric, we have the heat, all that stuff in the basement, and just leaving in the basement for now. I've determined it's not my hill to die on. Really, it's not. I'm not at that level that I really need the space for it yet. I could always bring it back. It's something that may have a little bit more of a fee incurred to it, but when we get to that point, we can bring it back. My son, in what he did though, has brought all the really old stuff into that first storage container, and that's going to be good for me because when I do these whatnot shows now, I can literally go in there and take a tub, 2 tubs, whatever I want for the show, and just bring it in and be like, okay, here's what we're selling for this week. Yes, it's goods from the wholesale business, but it's going to give me a lot of goods to go through a lot of these shows and get that callus built up, like, so I can get over the fear of trying to speak to people on the camera, learn more of how to get through this. It's going to give me those goods to be able to do it with, and it's going to benefit us in the wholesale business to get rid of this stuff that's old. Truthfully, if I can get that whatnot stuff so successful, I may be able to use that first initial storage container that we've never been able to get cleaned out. Maybe that'll be the storage container that I can eventually use for this eBay store. We shall see. The goals this week is clean up all of those returns, get all those case filed, get all those old SKUs cleaned up, get that out of there, have a whatnot show, and get some listings on. I have not been listing. There is some kind of mental block. I don't know what it is. I can't really say what I've been doing or why I've been doing it, but I would like to get my 3 listings up a day and get them on. So that is the #1 goal. Let's see when we come back at the midweek if that's the case. One thing that did happen over the weekend, and you probably all got the same thing, is we got our W-2s or 1099s, whatever for terminology for them, from eBay. I'll tell you, I was a little bit surprised at how much I was able to sell last year. If you got yours, don't stress. Just remember, you have expenses that you will need to take out of that, which is the cost of goods. You have things like your mileage that has to come out of that. That's why it's good for having that CPA that can go through those things with you, and you're not overpaying on the taxes because of poor planning or not having the knowledge. They're going to give you, if anything, a plan to go into 25 with, had you not been able to take advantage of certain things in 24. So if you got that, you're a little bit alarmed, don't worry. Just remember that this is all a learning curve, and we can all change things in the future and make the steps what you have to get done. My step, honestly, out of it was I have some money put aside for that, but I wasn't paying attention as much as I should through the rest of the year. And that just tells me in the rest of the year, I need to be saving more for the end of the year bill. And that's my plan for myself for next year. I want to say bye for right now, and I'll be back on Wednesday with the midweek. It's Wednesday, February 5th, so we're here for the midweek check-in. I can tell you that we have done quite a bit on the filing to get that bulk of stuff out for the safety claims on Amazon to be filed. I know this doesn't have anything to do with the new eBay store, but truthfully, my brain works in a way that it will continue to keep working and looking at problems or looking for systems or trying to get completion for things that just don't seem in alignment. And no matter what I've tried to do for distraction or just telling it to stop, it doesn't work. I said in prior videos, something when I was talking about like my tax returns, where I just stay focused on that in one day and just get it all done. And that is the kind of person sometimes I need to be. And trying to get all these returns and safety claims and all that stuff done, I need to just do it in one big chunk so that it can get off the plate and my brain can finally rest on that. Same as this other project where I am looking to get all these old SKUs out. I am really close on that one. I got halfway through my largest brand, and I feel like if I spend one more night, I can really kind of wrap that brand up. And then the other ones are kind of problematic. The reason they're last is just because that they're problematic. Meaning my son's probably gonna have to just bring me in tubs of what these brands are, and I'm gonna have to do the physical inventory, looking at the screen and getting out all the old unwanted SKUs. Most of these brands are ones that we're not even bringing anything for the brand back in. And I just want to get them cleaned up and get things streamlined on those. That, like, I believe will be done in the next couple of days and nights as well. I did start looking at the calendar to look ahead, and I was like, because I'm only about 10 days away from my vacation, and I am nowhere near prepped like I normally would be. And I really know for me, I don't like to go down there and feel like I'm not getting anything completed. So this is another like pressing need on my brain to want to get things completed. So I say all of that because I feel like if I try to get into another Whatnot show, I try to get into the listings, I'm going to be so distracted, and I'm not going to be giving it either its full time and attention, or I'm going to be start making problems and errors because I want to get, my brain wants to get completion or resolution to these other projects that are on the plate. So I feel like for me, the best thing is to focus, get through those issues. I'm not going to get the vacation prep work completed. It's just that's not something I'm really going to have a completion on until I get through the vacation and come back. But at least if I feel more easy in the amount of stuff I have prepped, my brain will take a little bit of a rest from that and not feel this adrenaline like it's got to get done, it's got to get done, it's got to get done, is like what it keeps saying to itself. For the midweek, that's what I have to report. We're working on these things. Things are getting done. There's, other things I'm not bringing up, which is like the doctor's appointments and all the other minutia of stuff that got pushed out and not addressed during those busy times of the year. Those are getting worked on too. So for me, I want to be able to come into April 1st really being ready to go. I am seeing and looking ahead at the estate sales on the estatesales.net website, and there has been some like decent ones. If I position that I was ready to go out, there are several I would be going to. Nothing like oh my god, I gotta get there. There is one probably in a week or two that has some Christmas that I'm intrigued by, but not feeling that like, my god, I gotta get there early and camp out kind of feeling. No. Having looked at these sales, it does give me some hope that when I'm ready to go, that there's stuff that's going to be like right in queue for me to go. I don't feel like I'm really missing out, but I definitely know that there is opportunity, I guess is the way I should be saying that. Let's wrap this up for today, and I will be back for the end of the week wrap up. I'm here for the weekly wrap up, and you can really see now that my not listing since the middle of November is starting to affect my sales. I have only made a gross of $194. I did take the weekend markdowns to the 50% off this past weekend, and I believe that's really the only reason you are starting to see some sales come in. I think it's making eBay happy to see that I am still doing some stuff with the listings and still active in my account, and I think the buyers are also responding because most of the items that I'm selling right now were a little bit more on the holiday related side, and they weren't necessarily anything right now. We're getting too close to the Valentine's season at this point, and Easter is not hit yet. So it's been kind of difficult trying to get anything like to one particular fan base at this point. I'm just going to take whatever I can to get money back because I want to have a clean slate when I start listing, basically at the very end of this month or the beginning of March. Here we have a gross sales of $194 with net sales of $102. The gross average sale was $27.74 with an average net of $14.59 per sale. The net profit margin is 53%, and the average net profit margin was 54%. The Facebook sales are showing very heavily in here. I think that has to do with the paper because most of the paper sales I have been putting in there is that it's being purchased off of Facebook. It does not have value in there, which is another reason why I think my net profits are looking quite high, because I have not put in a purchase price for them. I think the more realistic picture here is looking at that the yard sales are a bigger piece. I have not been buying inventory that has not gone up. An average net cost of sales is $19, is what they're saying is the value for the goods I've spent. Marketplace fees were $30.42, and shipping cost me $42.66. I had 8 items sell. You can see I basically had nothing coming in on these 2 days. As we got to the weekend is where you start seeing the sales come in here. And yes, it is taking 6 months to sell, again, because I am not listing anything. So let's get into the sale items right now and go over the numbers. So here are the sales that came in for February. What was this? February 3rd to the 9th. There wasn't a lot of sales. Most of the items that came in were like the paper. There's 2 of them right there that were from my hobby. Actually, I have 3 of the papers, and 1 that was an old store stock that I wound up finding. The lowest value item of what I sold was sold on the weekend sale, which was this Lori Mitchell. This is the Melody Maker. I did get her back at an estate sale, and I paid a total of $4 for her. Going through the numbers for her, it was a total of $19.65 that eBay collected for this item, which breaks down to $11 for the item and $8.65 for the shipping. Out of that cost came 40 cents to eBay for a bank transaction fee, otherwise called the fixed final value fee. That 40 cents is for them to collect the money out of my buyer's account and deposit it into my account. There is a final value fee of $2.51. That is basically a 15%, approximate 15% commission based on the total value, which is the $19.65 that I mentioned up here that they collected. So the 15% is on the total of shipping plus the purchase price. We were able to ship this for $5.14, leaving me with a net return of $7.60. The ROI on this item is 190%, and the net profit margin is 39%. Then going into the second highest item that sold, I will just go on a highlight of this. These were items, there was 4 of these smaller 9-inch tall blow molds of pumpkins. They're on a light string, so you would put them down a walkway. I sold 2 sets of them. They were total length of 15 feet. So basically you got 30 in 1 length of feet, or you could put them on either side. Anyway, these sold for a total cost of $19.60 with a value of $19.15 for the shipping. I'll be honest, I don't know why the shipping cost was so high on this. The particular size box, I believe, because I did show them in the box, was pretty significant in size. I think it may have bumped it up in the value. But anyway, for this particular item, we purchased them for $10, and we were able to get a net return of $13.89. That meant I got my purchase price of $10 back, plus another $13.89 after all the fees were paid. I'm in a mode that I am just happy to get my price back right now on the items of what I paid out. This was a particular item I bought at a community sale in my neighborhood. They are a vintage Atlantic mold ceramic set of a Mr. and Mrs. Snowman. I bought these with the intent of either giving them to someone I know that likes to repaint ceramics, or if I could sell them myself, I was going to do that. I was very happy to get them out of my basement storage for the $20 offer. I paid $10 for them. Again, I just wanted them. They were taking up a lot of space. I was afraid they were going to fall over. She does have a mark right on her nose and the front of her face. They were missing some of the small bulbs, which you still can get, but that was my highest ticketed item for the week. I wasn't really disappointed. I'm just trying to get my money back at this point. Even after all of the other fees and things came out, I still made $15.02. So that is my sales for the week. Apologize, it's nothing overly exciting. I am not going to be listing new items again for a few weeks. This is my time where I can basically just clean out and start fresh, and that's what you're going to be seeing from me in the next few weeks. I would appreciate a thumbs up if you got any good content out of this. Really appreciate if you hit the subscribe button and help me grow the channel. And I'm going to say bye for now, and I'll catch you on the next one.